There was a design choice to have different size images for what, like for example, these two. They didn't need an overall like a long shot of them. You can tell like what kind of attitude they're portraying, and to make sure that's something also been important throughout all of the pictures I've taken. That attitude and the way these people are portrayed looks professional and like that they are a magazine. That I'm particularly fond of this picture of the overall Aristocrat band, as I think it shows that it just looks professional and as you'd expect from an actual band. As well, throughout it's been a key point to make sure the order of the band members remains the same, just as it does in most magazines. To show who, what I don't know what the word is really normally the lead singers and the guitarists and the more popular band members, whereas the drummer and the bass player have been moved back as they're not more widely known. To add more detail as well and make it more professional, the features plus sign has also been carried on throughout the cover, just more like the overall colour scheme and where everything's laid out and sizes have been. It just makes it look more professional, as if the magazine is all from, you can tell it's all from the same magazine. As well as I've added this small thing that was taken from Empire magazine. I think it looked nice, just the title of the magazine, the masthead, as well as the date that this issue's been published. The numbers, obviously, that everything you'd need on a magazine. As well, what I also made sure was this was right down the middle, and there was a small gap there, which means when the pages fold, as this is A3, it's just a small minor detail, but I realised just so you can tell what it is, this page 3 might be affected by that, but you should still be able to tell what it says. As well as a small introduction to each feature on the magazine. This is also taken from Empire. I think it looked well, and you'd know what you were going to read if you were going to search it. So obviously you can see my Photoshop skills have drastically improved from the college magazine. It's more vibrant, it looks more professional, and everything works together simultaneously. I don't think this could have been improved much, if at all really. I've used a lot of different techniques with it, and I've put all sorts of variations on it, and this gave me my favourite, more professional look. Actually, speaking of the pictures, actually, on a last note, I made sure all the pictures were different. I didn't want them all to be taken all on college ground, that would look poor. So what I did was mainly these, obviously as well, size of the pictures depends on how big the band is. For example, Aristocrats are my main band for the magazine, the main article, which is why they've got the biggest image. Obviously, second Spivey here, he's got the second biggest picture, as he's got quite a big article in the magazine. Obviously you can't see that because only one double page spread, but that's why he's a larger image. And these two are lesser known, but actually he has an article in the magazine, but Jason has been used so that he's not actually in the magazine, but the actual you could find as in more talent here with the QR code, you search it and the more articles would appear. I think it all worked well. As well as all the images were taken in different locations. For example, this is an actual photo studio which added a professional look, which is why he's been with actual technology and stuff to, further portray his character. As well as here, there's Jason. He's just, I can't remember, it's like an industrial estate. It just looks a little bit different from the outside to pictures here. Actually, this one was just on the edge of an ice lake. So that, I don't know, it's just a little bit different. It all the colours reflected well off him. It gave a good high quality image, as well as there's also been lots said about this woodland images already previously on this same day. All the images were taken in the same week, so that none of them were in the same month I should say, so that none of them, I knew where everything was going and nothing was going to take over and forget where everything was going. Lastly, possibly the biggest use of Photoshop has been used here in the double page spread. As you can see, the colour scheme, everything you'd expect has been carried on, such as the numbers, the page, and this small detail here has also been carried on through. What I had originally was, I had the image actually cut off halfway, so you didn't have this white box at the bottom. The image was cut off halfway, so it did look quite, I don't know the word, it just didn't look fulfilled, it didn't look like what you'd expect. So what I actually did was I reintroduced the lower half of the image, put a white box over the image where text was going to go, and reduce the opacity on it. This meant you could still get the details of the image, but obviously the text is the most predominant thing, and it doesn't the image doesn't overwhelm it, it doesn't take your concentration away. There is actually, so it's not very noticeable, but there is actually a small, it was over the left hand side of this, as this is going to be 2 pages again, A3. And this small, it's like a a reference to the photo studio that would have been used for the images, which was me, obviously, but in a magazine this is often found just to say who took the photos and credit to the photographer. It's a bit, the opacity has again been reduced on this, so like it's not predominant, but it has to be there. It looks professional. The features arrow was used just to, like, not only that, but it's like this is going to be the start of one like block. Like as you can see on this contents page, we have the features section, the regular talent section, the gigs and festivals, and the reviews. And this is the start of the features section, which is why I've introduced it with an arrow. This features logo would not be like throughout all the articles, it'd just be on this one saying that features section has begun, whereas on the next one, which would be regular talent, maybe on page 20 what you'd get is regular talent arrow saying this is where this stage has begun. Originally we actually had just Aristocrats and new album Deleted History written in this box, which looked good, but I was told otherwise by like interviews and all sorts. People they weren't keen on this. This wasn't professional and found in most magazines. So I started off with the Triumph of the, and then the bold Aristocrats as this, and it looks professional. It looks good, really. It complements the image behind it as well, though. It just, instead of being in the text and overwhelming and being against all this small text, the larger text has been hit like above it all, and just works well there. While the Aristocrats is in bold, just to show like the Triumph of the Aristocrats carries on through. And there's a small header here. This is like to introduce what has actually been written in the article, much like this Q&A has been added to introduce what's coming up next with the interviews. This small red line, it's here to indicate to me that the article is midway, and you won't be able to see this if it was to be printed and put in a magazine, as this is where the fold would be down the magazine's A3 page, that this would just be completely hidden. This is why there's a small, like, I'd say about 3/4 of a centimetre space either side of the red line, so that text doesn't get folded into the gap, and that way it looked more like, if you couldn't read it in an actual magazine, it'd be ridiculous, really. So considering it's been placed there. This is we've had a few borders on the side as well, just because I didn't like the idea of the image and all the text touching the sides. I reckon it just looked more professional, keeping a border and a bit of white space to make sure that I don't know, it just looks more professional. This is found often in old magazines, and it just works well, as well as like my text sizes throughout have always been changing. Like the features section is large because it's to show like headers. Headers are mainly large, whereas text has been reduced, like another large header. But then these like interview sections, to know what the question was, obviously it's been changed. The colour has been changed, and the question has been boldly increased in size. Overall, all three, you can see my Photoshop skills have drastically improved. I mean, I think it all works so much more professionally, and it looks great. I'm proud of what I've made here, and to be honest, I think it just all works well. And overall, I think that is a good overview of how my technology has developed. Oh, in fact, maybe I should just mention hardware used in the Mac. Like, obviously, Photoshop was used on our iMacs in college, whereas we used SLR Canon HD cameras to make sure we got the highest quality possible images. But basically, those are the only two, other than Blogger to upload it here, those are the only two main pieces of software, two main software and hardware, like equipment used. So overall, I think that's everything that I'd describe on like how I've developed and what I've changed over time. I reckon it all works well, and this is how it went. Thank you.